Take 3. Is your life kinda complicated? Welcome to One Take, the podcast designed to seek wisdom to live simple, healthy, and happy. We'll get there one take at a time. I'm your host, Yezmin Thomas. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Take 3 of One Take, the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today, we're going to be talking to a personal friend of mine. Her name is Christy Kilgore, and she is a certified personal fitness trainer. We are going to be talking to her about the struggles of just staying in shape. There's the time constraints, there's the how-to, there's the lack of support from friends, and just in general, we really get too busy. And many people, including myself, leave our personal fitness to the side because we really don't have time. And we're going to be talking to her today. She works on a daily basis with people that need help to either start a fitness program or stay on a fitness program. And she's going to tell us what are some of the struggles that her clients face and how can we, sharing those struggles, how can we encourage ourselves to take control of our fitness, and how can we finally do something to stay in shape? If that's something that you are hoping to get done for the new year, this is a conversation that you're going to find very helpful. Also, if you don't have time or you think you don't have time, she's going to share with us some strategies on how to set ourselves up for success when it comes to taking care of our bodies and also taking care of what we eat. Besides being a certified personal trainer, Christy is certified on Insanity, Beachbody, Bar. She's also certified to teach Jillian Michaels Body Shred, and she is a group fitness instructor. So let's go into this conversation. Let's learn, and then let's put this into practice. This is my conversation with Christy Kilgore. Okay, Christy, I am so happy to have you on air with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, you are a dear friend, and I really appreciate you and your time. And I want people to know that since I met you the first time, you are all smiles and you have such a positive energy and you are a joy to be around.
Aww.
So, yeah, thank you for sharing your light and your energy with us because it's really fun to be around you.
Cool, thanks.
Now, Christy, let's start by telling everyone, what do you do and how did you decided that you wanted to do this? Or, did you realize that you wanted to do this?
Well, first and foremost, I'm a mom. That is my number one priority. I am a military spouse. So with my husband deploying a lot and us moving as frequently as we have over the last 19 years, I was trying to be that constant presence in the kid's life. So I wanted to be the stable parent that was at home every night and could go to kids' activities and have the flexibility to do that. So when I was trying to think of a way, once my kids got to school, I was a stay-at-home mom until they went to elementary school. And once they both were in school full-time, I thought, now I can actually start to pursue something career-oriented within the fitness industry. And so I was in my mid-30s when I started seeking my personal training cert. And I studied for it, and I obviously passed, and I started working with clients at the Y, and what I liked about it was flexible. I could still create my own schedule and still be present with the kids and at home when I was needed, when my husband wasn't.
So you found something you like to do and you found a way to balance it with your personal life, which is what this is all about, finding purpose, finding balance.
That's right.
And for working moms, it's a challenge.
It is a huge challenge. And you said it's a challenge. And I feel like fitness is the only thing outside of parenting that I know. Like, it's just it was a no-brainer for me to seek out this type of career because I was doing it anyway. And I had so many friends ask me questions along the way, like how they should be tweaking their workouts and if I could help them come up with things. And so I knew that this was something that was a strength of mine. And it was, like you said, it was a passion. So it doesn't feel like a job, but I was able to make it something, I loved it.
It happened organically.
Yes, very much.
Awesome. That's because working out, as you know, we've had some chats about it. It is hard. It is hard to find the time and it's hard to stick to it. Mm-hmm. Now, I know you're up before anyone is up, before the first roosters are up. You're up early. Yes. How do you manage to be able to have the energy to be a mom, to run your household, and still be up before 4 a.m? I don't know what time you get up. So explain to us, how does your day go by and how do you manage to have the energy to actually open your eyes? I got to tell you, my alarm goes off. My eyes are shut. Like I literally have to wash my face because my eyes can't open.
Well, I have to say it's a natural thing for me because my husband can attest to this too. I grew up a country girl and you were not allowed to sleep in. And to my father, 8 a.m. was sleeping in.
That was late.
You have slept away half your day at that point. So I've just always been an early riser and I've always been an early to bed girl. So now as an adult and a mom, that time in the morning is precious, because your day can get away with you. Your kids have things they have to be at, or I now work, in a studio or I host group workouts. So I have to figure out time for just me. And that is in the morning. And I think this too. It's also a time where I can have the quiet time. So it's my devotion time. It's coffee time. It's workout time.
Coffee time, devotion time in the morning. I haven't found any better time to get it done, but before everyone gets up. Mm-hmm. And it's cool because the house is quiet and you feed off that quietness and calmness and peacefulness around the house. So, all right, to the question, what time do you get up? What do you do? Well, because this morning you texted me before 5 a.m.
Yeah. Well, you can blame the time change for that because my body is still thinking it's 6 a.m., So yeah, I'm usually up by 6, between 6 and 6:30. Some of that has to do with the fact that just until last year when I had an elementary school student, he had to be on the bus at 7. So our house got up at 6. So that kind of ate into mommy time, that quiet time we were just talking about. It ate into that time. But typically, like my biological clock will just wake up. It'll wake up at 6.
All right. And then what do you do? Do you get a workout in for yourself or do you get your workout out of all the workouts that you do through the day with your clients?
Well, that's my quiet time. And then once the kids go off to school, so we're talking 7:30, 8 o'clock, it's my workout time. If I'm working that day, it depends on the format. If it's a boot camp style, then no, I'm usually kind of walking around and making sure people are in proper form. They know what exercise to do. I'm watching the timer because everything's on a timer. But if it's a class workout, if it's like a weightlifting class or a circuit class, then yes, I would be working out with them. But that's not my focus. My focus is the class. So if I'm working out, if it's a workout that I need that day, then I'll do it before class.
Before class. Mm-hmm. And so that our friends that are listening and watching on YouTube know, explain to us the range of activities that you do as a personal trainer. What kind of, workouts or trends do you teach, or are you teaching, your clients?
Yes, I am a personal trainer, but I'm also a group fitness instructor. So they're very different. Personal training is literally more personal. I have clients with various backgrounds. Some of them are fighting back from disease. Some of them are just overweight and seeking help. It's never the most ideal situation. So I have to tailor a workout that's going to meet their individual needs. It's very personal. It's one-on-one. And of course, there's nutritional guidance along the way. With group fitness, that's a completely different thing. People that come to whatever class I'm teaching, and I teach various formats, they kind of know what to expect. And depending on the format, it's a totally different group of people. So I teach a high intensity interval training, which is a lot of jumping and cardio and strength training. So I got that kind of clientele. So they come and they're like ready to work,
Let's do it.
That's right. Like let's do this. And then I have a bar class that I teach, which is a low impact Pilates, yoga, dance inspired format. So you've got a different kind of client for that. So it really does depend on what I'm doing that day.
Yeah, that's more of my taste, the low impact. I feel like, once I did go to a high impact class and my knees were aching and I was totally out of shape. I'm like, I better stick to yoga because at least I know I can get through the class and this is something I enjoy and I feel better later. After the high impact classes, my knees were killing me. I'm like, am I really that old? So
we can talk about that because that could be a shoe issue, or that could be the way you're landing from your jumps. But
the knee pain?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll do that later.
Yeah. Over coffee.
And yes, coffee, please. Christy, when you're working with your clients, what are some of the challenges that they face? Because I think we can relate to them. And if you can tell us how you guys are addressing those challenges, I think that could be enlightening to all of us that don't have a personal trainer or that don't really work with a group.
Yes. Well, I'll be honest with you. A lot of my clientele, in fact, 95% of them are moms. They're women. Their biggest challenge, and I'm sure you can relate because I know it's an issue for me too, is time management.
Oh yeah.
Trying to get people where they got to go, because the moms are usually the, CEO of the household. They're the taxi. They're they're taking care of everybody's needs first. And so when I have someone come to me, it's because they are doing that for multiple members in their family and they've lost a sense of their own needs. And so what happens is that can lead to weight gain, that can lead to depression, that can lead to many, many factors. And they finally get to a point where they're in a rut and they're just like, I need help. And that's huge when they can come to you and admit that, that they're ready. You know that they've said, enough is enough. It's time for me. And so that's part of what I do. The second biggest job as a PT, I feel, is the accountability. Like, I'm basically paid to ensure this person comes to the workout. This person has hired me to be their accountability. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I can text them and find out what they're doing. I'm their cheerleader. I'm their moral support. And a challenge for a lot of women, I find, is they don't have that maybe in their home environment or maybe in their social environments, because they become part of that and they don't want that. They need someone else's influence to help them create a better life.
They need a relationship. Yes.
Sometimes it's a spouse that just doesn't support, changing the diet, because that sounds scary, like they think they're going to eat salads forever or,
they're going to turn into rabbits.
Yes. So sometimes when I have someone come to me, it's because they really want this change, but they know that they don't have that same support at home. So they have to do it on their own. And I know that's a challenge, and that's kind of a work in progress for them. Like, they're going to use me as their teacher and maybe slowly start to incorporate their better habits, not all at once, so that it's better received. Yeah, those are some of them. Those are some of the main challenges I face. Yeah.
And for me, and sharing it with you, I've shared this with you before, the time is a challenge too, because this is something like yourself, you are a challenge to yourself, and everything else around you is a challenge.
Yes.
But I had it set in my mind that I was not an early riser and that I could not wake up before the time I get up, to get the kids ready to go to school and get ready for work and everything. I had it set in my mind. It was a fact. I could not get up early in the morning to get a workout in, Mm-hmm. And then after having that talk with you, you got me thinking, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to challenge myself.
Good.
And I'm happy to report for maybe the last 2 months, I've been getting up at 5. It's a challenge. I got to tell you. Yes. And I get in a 30-minute yoga workout. And then I get in the shower, and I noticed that because I was doing that, because I stopped going to my yoga, because I was going to yoga to get my exercise and get relaxed. But it was such a hassle to get there, get home, get the kids ready for bed, make it to the gym on time, drive back. I was super tired. It became a situation where I wasn't enjoying going to my yoga class.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm just rushing through everything and I want to enjoy it. So now I find it that doing it in the morning, it's just a half an hour, but I'm picking like sort of a more intense practice. And I see that the small changes over time can really bring a lot of positive effect in your body and your mind.
Yes. Good.
Yes, I know. And then I'm like, well, I got up at 5 a.m. to the yoga. I'm not going to have this croissant for breakfast. Right? So now I'm making better choices because I started my day with a workout. Now the sleep time, and this is something that you need to help us out.
Okay.
What do you find is enough for you? How many hours are enough for you to sleep and be functional and not be moody and cranky and, how that goes?
If you ask the average woman, I bet you she gets 6 or less hours of sleep. Yeah. And your body needs more than that.
Yes.
Definitely needs more. And this is going to sound odd, but it needs more sleep to lose weight. If you've been actively engaging in your workouts, your sleep is where the magic happens to you. And obviously it's going to help you feel better. You're going to go into your day with more energy. You're going to perform better during your workouts, which means you're going to increase your calorie burn. I mean, it's a layered thing. And I'll be honest with you, sleep, like a lot of things revolve around when this girl needs to go to sleep.
I know.
Because there's a joke. It's a running joke with a lot of my friends. When it comes to New Year's Eve, they even it's not even a question. They're like, should we even invite you guys to our New Year's Eve party, or can you hang, or whatever?
Or do they do like an early bird version where you all have the grapes and the cheers and everything at 10 o'clock?
Yeah. And we were living in Oklahoma, and my husband and I had said to ourselves, if we make it to 11, that's midnight on the East Coast. So we're like, we can do this. We can make it to 11.
You watch the broadcast from the East Coast, and then it's just like you were in.
Yeah. So we didn't make it. I'm sad.
You didn't make it?
No. So I usually go to sleep, quite honestly, between 10 and 10:30, and I'm up at 6.
So you get around 8 hours?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. I need to work on that. I have the Fitbit that tells you how much you're sleeping. So I love it because it gives you all this data. And I was shocked when I was looking at the time, especially when I started getting up at 5 a.m. I'm like, I need to work something out into being in bed by 9:30 so that maybe at 10 I can be out. Mm-hmm. So I'm still working on that. That's getting enough sleep. It's a big challenge. And I have read those studies that say that, if you don't get enough sleep, you're more anxious, you eat more. So definitely.
Yes. And I do know that that's a struggle, especially for the working mom and the working woman. They are gone all day. They come home and then they've got, family responsibilities. Kids have homework. Kids have extracurriculars. Oh yeah, we have to make dinner and do the laundry. And I totally get it. So before you know it, it's almost midnight.
Exactly.
And then you have to repeat that cycle. So that is something that people need to either delegate out. And I always preach this to my friends that have kids that are old enough to help. You can start to delegate and make time for yourself. You don't have to be super mom, although we will wear that badge proudly, but it is good for our kids to be active within the household too. And you can start to delegate these little things, and that will help carve out little pockets of time where you can start to reorganize your schedule, your family schedule or your personal schedule, and say, you know what? I was able to get a half an hour more sleep. Maybe I can get up a little bit earlier and get my workout in. You only need a half an hour, quite honestly. And you've said it yourself, a half an hour of yoga,
yes.
that starts your day off right.
Yes, definitely. Mm-hmm. And I also feel like we, as moms and wives, we need to lower the expectations that we have of ourselves, because I think that we set the bar high and we want to have the house clean and the food ready and the lunches, healthy lunches and everything. And it doesn't happen. It's not going to happen, and it's okay. We're going to make it.
We're going to make it. And like I said, you can delegate out, and that doesn't make you less of a mom. That just helps empower your kids to be responsible, and it gives you a little bit of me time, and that's not a bad thing. That's hard to communicate. It is. I've found that to be a struggle when working with clients, because they do so much. They're so used to it that it's hard to let go of that. It is.
It is. Now, give us some recommendations to set successful workout routines or workout programs, because I've also been the kind of person that I'm going to go to the gym every day at 6 a.m. Not recently, maybe 20 years ago, and I would make it 2 days, and guess what? The third day I was sleeping till noon. So what are some of the recommendations to be able to set a doable exercise or workout routine?
Okay. Well, getting back to carving that time out, and we've talked about, getting up early, having that time. I always tell people that we will rearrange our life to get our kids to their extracurriculars, to their dentist appointments, to their doctor's appointments, to rehearsals. Our busy life will suddenly become manageable if it has to do with our kids. So I feel as though we need to make that same shift for something like fitness, like health. What is it in your schedule that you can just block out 4 to 5 times a week for at least a half an hour for you? And we've talked about early morning, but let's put that on the schedule. Like you do your doctor's appointments, the things that are non-negotiable. You have to make these things happen. If it's important to you, if health and wellness is important to you, you need to treat it like a non-negotiable. You put it in your Google Calendar, you put it on your dry erase calendar, your family calendar, somewhere visible and somewhere on paper, so that this is serious. This is something you want to do. It's a plan.
And so that everyone knows at the house that, at this time, this door is shut and don't open it because I'm getting my workout done.
That's exactly it.
So we also need to communicate with our family so that they know this is what I'm doing, don't interrupt. I just need this time for myself.
That's right. Or you could include them. I mean, I know for me, my kids are really good about that. Like if they see me working out, then they just want to be a part of it too. Or I'll invite them to be a part of it, and they enjoy that as well. So,
do they have a Pilates class too?
Well, not every workout, but like when I'm working out at home, sometimes they're kind of watching through the garage window, and I'm like, come on.
And you guys do fun stuff. You go on walks in the woods, and you go paddle on the river. I mean, you guys are like out there. You do fun stuff.
Yeah.
So we also have to find the fun stuff to do as a family that doesn't sound like a workout.
That's right.
So going back to the blocking the time, what is a good amount of time to see results? And I understand, and we all know, it's not just about the workout, it's about what you eat. So tell us about how many hours or how many workouts we should plan or try to get done to be able to see results, and then follow up by giving us some recommendations for healthy eating.
Okay. Well, it really does depend on your goals. If you're in it for weight loss and you're just starting out, I would recommend 4 to 5 times a week you are doing something physical. You are going to a gym, maybe you're working out from home, you're going to a boot camp, you're putting in a DVD, whatever it is, at least 4 to 5 times a week for, half an hour, 45 minutes. Yes, you could do an hour, but if you're just starting back, I find that those people who start off gung-ho, they're ready to do that hour workout, they do it maybe the first 3 days and then they get discouraged because it's hard. It's hard getting back into it and then committing an hour, because you're doing an hour workout and then you've got to shower and then you've got to go to, work, and you've got to get the kids ready for school. So if you can tell yourself, I'm going to give myself half an hour, I'm going to work out, whether it's yoga, whether it's a DVD, give yourself a half an hour, at least 4 to 5 times a week. And then within 4 to 6 weeks with consistent effort, and that's both in the kitchen and in the gym, you will start to see results. And you'll probably start getting compliments from friends first before you see them, before you see the results yourself.
I love it that you go there, because we are really bad at admitting that we look good. We're bad at admitting or receiving feedback, compliments.
Yeah.
Let's go into that a little more.
Okay.
How do we do that? Because it's hard. It's hard to admit, oh, I'm kind of looking good. These pants are not as tight. We're always feeding ourselves not very positive thoughts. I guess that's just the nature of women.
Mm-hmm. I think you said it. I don't remember a time ever when I have said, I look good. I'm happy with where I am. If we all took an honest look at our 20-year-old self and said, man, I wish I didn't say the things I said about myself then.
Exactly.
Because I'm here now. But I honestly think that that's just something women deal with. So I honestly try to provide an environment, whether it's in the studio or on my social media, that is always positive. And it always is more like a self-reflective thing. Let me give an example. Like, we call them NSVs, which are non-scale victories. Okay. So if someone is starting a 10-day sugar-free challenge and they've gone 2 days with consistent effort with reading labels and eliminating sugar, I have them brag about that. Like, tell us about that. Tell us the wins you had that day. Just building their confidence and feeling good about the decisions they made that day, instead of that consistent look at the scale, which means nothing.
I hate scales.
We don't own one. You know what I mean?
I don't look at it. We have one, and I don't step on it.
Yeah. And it only tells a small part of a person's story. So I try to provide avenues in which people can start to report in about things that they've been challenged with, that they've overcome, or that they've had little wins in, lifting weights, for example, is a big thing. When you start to go from 5-pound weights to 8-pound weights, that's a big deal. And I try to get people to talk about that kind of thing. Or pant sizes, if people have to buy a whole new wardrobe, they're complaining about that because it's expensive, but they have to buy a whole new wardrobe.
That's a good problem.
Yeah, it's good. So, yeah, I really try to help women be self-reflective from the inside, not focus on the scale so much, but like all the little wins along the way, celebrate those small victories, those big victories, and the NSVs as much as you can to keep yourself motivated. So you're not just relying on one single measurement.
And then the more people share about it, the more comfortable other women or men feel about sharing their own little successes. Agreed. All right, Christy, I like to ask the guests on the podcast and on the show, I like them to share if they're reading anything that they're finding inspiring, finding good information, adding value to their lives. So are you reading anything that you would like to share with us? Anything that's having an impact in your life currently?
Yes. I just finished Entree Leadership by Dave Ramsey.
Oh, I have it right there.
Yes.
Great book. Totally recommended.
It's such a great book, and it's good. I feel it's good for people that are entrepreneurs that are, trying to work a business, but I also feel it's good for just like we've been talking about this whole time about empowering each other. Like, how can you get positive messages out there and create that following? I thought it was great.
And what I like the most about it is, I've been working in the corporate world for a long time, but his view of business and work dynamics, it's totally different. And it opened my eyes so much because I didn't know any other way than that.
I know. It's refreshing.
It is refreshing, and there's a lot of wisdom in that book.
Yes. And now this is it's a project I'm working on for January, because for personal trainers, group fitness instructors, we anticipate a lot of activity in January, February, when people start to think about the new year and their new, approach to wellness and stuff. So I always try to have something lined up to plug people into, but also for myself, because I love fresh beginnings. I like being able to look ahead. I wouldn't call them resolutions, but it's my birthday month. So like I approach the year with, what do I want to accomplish in my, new year life? So with that in mind, I'm going to be challenging my own dietary regimen with the Whole30 approach.
Now, hold on. Before we go there,
yes.
You've changed a lot about the way you eat in the last few years. So tell us about those changes, and then tell us how you're going to make these changes.
Well, I was doing this clean eating virtual online support group using the 21-day fix. And I had several clients who were vegetarians going through the program. And part of the program is having these color coordinated containers that represented different food groups.
That's a 21-day fix?
21-day fix, yes.
Well, tell us a little more about that.
Sure. It is basically helping people learn better portion sizes. It's a portion control system.
Okay.
And they provide these little containers that are color coordinated to food groups. So depending on, and you have to, plug in your numbers to this formula that they give you, and then they will assign you based on your number how many green containers you could consume that day, which is veggies, how many reds, how many blues, et cetera, et cetera. So I had 2 clients that were vegetarians going through the program, and given the meal lists that were provided, they didn't give vegetarians a lot of options. So they were kind of at a loss. Like, what do I do for my proteins? I'm unsure how to do this. This program says that beans are a carb, but I treat them as a protein. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to do this 21 days with them as a vegetarian and just kind of see what this feels like. Because it was a new obstacle for me to be able to coach them through it without considering, special dietary needs of people, because it was a pre-made program. I just had to offer the support to get them through. So what started off as just like a test to be a better coach to them turned into a lifestyle shift, quite honestly.
Is it hard?
I thought it was going to be, because I loved eating chicken and fish and sushi. But I think initially it was weird not having that protein on my plate, because we all think of, an animal protein as the source of protein. It was weird not having it on my plate. But once you start really diving into the lifestyle of a vegetarian and all their requirements, you see how many protein counts can be found in different food groups that you can include on your plate. It was just visually, it looked different to me on my plate, but I did start to kind of adapt to it. And within 21 days, I was like, well, that wasn't so bad, And so I did it again just to see, maybe I can do 2 months of this. Who knows? And here we are, almost 3 years later. It'll be 3 years in February.
You've been a vegetarian for 3 years.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does it look appealing to you anymore when you look at meat and chicken and fried chicken and roasted beef? And
well,
am I making you hungry?
Of all times to go vegetarian is when, I moved to Texas. I mean, that was so silly, but I still prepare meat for my family. My family still eats meat. I just don't. And I've been very surprised too. Like when my husband and I go out to eat, like I used to always look for the chicken dish or the, fish tacos. That was my go-to anywhere we went. But now I look for the vegetarian options, and I'm excited because I'm like, oh, I didn't know I could do this with this food. I'm going to try that at home, so, and my plate is so colorful. Like when my meal comes out versus my husband's, mine is so.
It's more appealing.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So I interrupted you. So now you are going to be telling us about this other book.
Yes. So, okay. So like I said, I've been a vegetarian. It'll be 3 years in February. And I'm not going to say it was a perfect process by any means, but it is the lifestyle that I like. I don't think I can go 100% vegan. I do have some friends that have done that. I grew up a dairy farmer's daughter, so I like my cheeses. I like my yogurt. However, I've heard so many amazing things about the Whole30 approach to wellness. And it's actually written by a certified nutritionist and a sports, let me get this right. He's certified in sports physiology. Anyway, the two of them have created this diet, but it's for life. Like, that's attractive to me because I don't like things that are trendy. I don't like things that you can't sustain long term.
The fill in the blank diet, that one that you do for 2 weeks and then you can't.
That's right. Like the 21-day fix, I should say this. The 21-day fix is actually clean eating. It's portion control. The reason why they call it 21-day fix is because you are fixing a bad habit. And science will support the fact that it takes about 3 weeks to break a habit. So I think that was the spin that they put on 21-day fix. It's not a miracle because it is something you can definitely sustain long term, especially if you struggle with eating from all the different food groups and you struggle with what actual portion sizes should look like. This takes it to a totally different level. Like this will force me to cut out sugar.
Totally out.
Totally for 30 days. And then, of course, you slowly
So what is the whole 30 about?
Well, I'm just getting into it. This is something that I have been, like, the actual cases I've been reading about, not the book itself. I've seen friends go through it. It's a lifestyle that just incorporates paleo, which is eating from, the earth. Yeah.
So no milk for paleo? Mm-hmm. What's the difference from vegetarian to paleo?
Well, I think vegetarian is similar to this, but this particular program, I guess, diet, whatever, you reduce your grains, you reduce your dairy, and you eliminate sugar.
Wow.
It's going to
challenging.
A challenge, but I think I'm up for it because I was really surprised with how well I was able to kind of become vegetarian. So now I just want to challenge myself again and see how much better this can feel, because the science behind it, this is also the book that accompanies it. It starts with food.
Oh, so there's 2 books?
Yeah, it's the same author. The same authors wrote these 2 books.
So I guess one looks like a recipe book and the other is like the informational book.
Mm-hmm. This talks a lot about how food can be your medicine. And you had asked me, I think separately in an email, what motivates me. Disease prevention is the number one. My family, in all honesty, is riddled with cancer. Not necessarily genetic forms of it, more environmental, but still that threat is there. And so I feel like there's oftentimes I feel like I'm waiting for my diagnosis, but I'm not one to just sit and wait. Like, I want to be proactive about it. Like, what can I do to lessen my own chances? So I am physically fit. That's a no-brainer. But I know that my struggle is diet. Even as a vegetarian, it's not perfect. But this may help me kind of dial it in even more and start to concentrate more on how my body reacts to that. Because I've heard amazing things about it. It will be tough.
It sounds, when you say to me, eliminate sugar, milk, meats, I'm just thinking, what is it that you eat? Oh, I mean, no cereal. So what is it that you eat? Carrots and lettuce and salads and,
I do still get to have carbs. Remember that. I do eat a lot of veggies. I eat quinoa. I love quinoa. You can make that so many things. It's high protein. You can mix it in you can make it a dessert. You can make it a salad. Oftentimes I'll just take quinoa and just like add cucumbers, tomatoes, feta.
Oh, I've done that. That's delicious. And I serve it on lettuce and like tacos. Pretty healthy tacos. The healthy kind.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So you're going to start that in January?
Yes. And in fact, this is a personal project of mine, but I always like to make it a group effort. Like I use my social media to kind of recruit people to do it with me because it's for my own accountability. But I also feel like someone out there is maybe looking for that nudge. Like maybe they were meant to see me talking about this, so they'll too do it. I just do better with groups of people, and I do better. And I think anyone can relate to that. Just having the accountability of having to report into people or talk about the process together. And I keep saying to myself, it's 30 days. It's 30 days.
And then if you don't like it, you can always go back.
We'll see how it goes. But I think because I do know it's mostly disease fighting, that's the motivation. That's something I'm really curious to learn more about their findings and the reasons why they came up with this and the successes behind it personally for them. I do know that my friends have done it as a means of just cleaning up their own diet and just feeling better about themselves, and have also had success with it. So, I mean, doing it for either reason is a benefit. So we'll see.
Now, you touched on staying healthy as a way of preventing disease. One of the questions I wanted to ask you, on your everyday life, what are those things that inspire you? The little things, the bigger things? I know it's kind of a deeper question, but I'm going to put you on the spot.
That's totally fine. Well, cancer prevention is number one. I honestly feel like my family has been impacted by it so much that it would be irresponsible for me to not take notice to that. The second motivational thing for me, and I often talk about this in my social media too, is that I want to improve my longevity. Simple. Like, I want to improve the quality of my longevity. I used this example the other day when talking with some friends. My grandparents, as they got older, had to rely on either medication or some form of aid to help them get around, whether it was a walker or a wheelchair or family members to help them get around. And specifically, I remember my grandmother, as she got older, she would sit in a chair by a window and watch the world go by, literally.
Wow.
Yeah. And that does something to you when you know, like, there's so much out there and she's here. And that's motivation too. Like, I want to be able to be fit to help me live a more functional, longer life. I'm not necessarily trying to get the biggest muscles or compete in any kind of bodybuilding competition, although I've thought about it.
And you've run everything there is to run and participated in any competition there's out there. So yes, you're very competitive.
A little bit. But I do know there's a lot of discipline involved with that. And that takes your physical fitness to a whole different kind of level. For me, it's just about being the best version of who I am now and helping to get other people there. But what motivates me to keep going is to improve that longevity, not depend on medications, not depend on family members to get me around, not be in a wheelchair. I mean, I think we all think those things, but I'm proactively trying hard to increase my chances of being successful, and of course, any mom's going to say this. I want to be that example for my kids. I want to walk the walk. I don't want to be telling my kids, go do this, go do that, go do this because I said so. I want them to see, like, my husband and I both make it a priority in our life, and this is just part of life. So
I love it that you said that you want to be the best version of yourself that you can be, because I think I can, well, I don't know if everyone, but these whole podcasts and YouTube videos and the many more to come are all about that. Asking the questions to be able to find and to be able to create the best version of ourselves for ourselves and for everyone else. Because when you are happy, I'm sure everyone can tell. And when you're not happy, when I'm not happy, everyone can tell. And the mood is different and the result is different. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's something that I've recently finally realized that I was seeking without knowing that I was seeking, So it's asking those questions to people like you who are doing it so that it can serve as an example for those of us who want to do it,
Yes. Yeah. And I should say, like, this isn't a perfect process either. Like, there are days where I'm worn out. But you have to tap back into that why. Like, what do you want to, like, what kind of example do you want to be? What do you want for yourself? It's not going to be easy. But you do create those behaviors and those patterns. And then eventually, instead of forcing yourself to do it, your body's like, okay, I'm ready. We just needed a couple days off. All right, let's get back into it. And then you're
conditioned.
Yeah, exactly. It's a mind-body thing. So
Well, Christy, this has been great. As we wrap up, are there any words of inspiration, any words you want to share with our listeners, our friends, to help them improve the way they eat, the way they work out, just to be better at what they are?
Well, we touched on it a little bit earlier, but I do want to say it again. Like, surround yourself with people that are doing the exact same thing. Whether your home environment is supportive or not, you still want to have what we call sweat sisters, or your accountability partner who's going to be relying on you to show up, and vice versa. Someone that you're going to be talking to throughout the process. There's so many ways you can find that person, whether it's in person or online. There's virtual support groups now too that you can tap into, but get involved with people doing the same thing you're doing, because it does help you make the decision every day that you want to do that same thing. You want to be a part of that group of people. You want to make positive changes in your life, and it makes a world of difference when you have that kind of environment. The positivity from it, and the journey in and of itself, knowing that there's going to be ups and downs, and just because you have a bad day doesn't mean like your whole attempt is finished. You have a bad day, you pick yourself up, someone's going to be cheering you on to get back at it, and you just do it.
That's great. Now, for our listeners, how can they get in touch with you? I know you're very active on Facebook. Do you have a fan page, a Twitter? What kind of social media channels are you on so that they can follow you, and what those are?
Well, you can find me on Facebook, / Christy Kilgore PT. You can also find me on Instagram, Christy Kilgore Personal Trainer. It's a mouthful, but there were other Christy Kilgores. So Christy Kilgore PT on Facebook, and Christy Kilgore Personal Trainer on Instagram. And I have my own hashtags too. So if you do searches under Killing It with Kilgore, you'll see clients or group fitness classes posting their experiences in the class. So it's fun.
Pretty awesome. And with every episode, I'm creating a post for the blog with the notes of the conversation. So if our listeners weren't able to, write it down or get you on right now, they can go to the blog post and just look at all the notes, and your information is going to be there too.
Great. Awesome. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Christy. It's been fun. I love having this chat and sharing it with everyone. Thank you so much for coming on.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me.
I hope you guys found this conversation inspiring, entertaining, and I hope that there's some takeaways that you can apply to your personal lives. I know I need to exercise more. I need to do a little bit more of cardio, and that's something that I want to work on for the new year. So with that being said, remember, guys, all the information and the resources that we share during the conversation, you can find them on the blog post for Take 3. Just go to my website, www.yezminthomas.com/take3. And that's going to take you to the blog post for this episode. And then you're going to find there also the links to the books that Christy mentioned and any other resources that we mentioned during the episode. Also, remember, I want to hear your feedback, and I want to know what are some of those topics that you would like me to take on. I would like to look for experts and interview them, because I want this podcast to be relevant to you. So go ahead and send me an email or contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and share with me what are some of the topics that you would like to know more about. You can send me an email. The address is podcast@yezminthomas.com. And my name is spelled a little different, Yezmin, last name Thomas, Thomas. So you can find me on Twitter too. Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. You can find me at Yezmin Thomas. On Facebook, my fan page for my blog and the podcast is Yezmin Thomas Blog. So connect with me, interact, let me know what you think about this. And do me a favor. If you're finding this content useful to you, if you wouldn't mind, I ask that you go on iTunes or whichever player that you're using to listen to this podcast and leave me a review. This will help me get noticed and will also help us share this information with other people that may find it useful and that may be struggling in the areas that we're talking about. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, I would really appreciate it. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. But stay tuned because every week you're going to find a new episode of One Take. For today, I thank you. Have a great day. And remember, just take it easy and keep it simple. I'm going to talk to you on the next take.